Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. Today we're going to be working on the XRT shocks. So what we're going to do is be taking the X-Max shock shafts that are 110 millimeters. Here's the part number if you decide you want to do this mod, 7763. And as you can see, we're going to gain approximately 5 millimeters of travel. Doesn't sound like much, but as you can see from the thumbnail, it adds a decent amount of ground clearance to this vehicle. I'm hoping that this will allow it to take bigger hits with less damage. So let's get digging into these and I'll show you how to do this mod. So you don't need much to actually make this mod happen. First off, like I said, you need the shock shafts for the X-Max 7763. You're gonna need a little silicone tubing. This is what I'm using to limit the overall length, compression and length for the shocks to allow these to work inside the XRT shock bodies. Just in case you're wondering, the stock X-Max shock will not drop on to the XRT. Well, I shouldn't say that. It will drop on, but it won't work properly. It'll not allow the shock to completely bottom out and or let the chassis bottom out, and it's going to cause a lot of issues. The torch is just to heat up the silicone to allow it to go over the shock shaft. A lighter would work fine, maybe even a heat gun. And then the 2 millimeter is simply to get the shock perch off. So let's get going. Shock oil, also gonna need that. I missed that earlier. So after you get your shock cap off and your bladder out, just take the old fluid, just dispose of that. After you get the fluid dumped out, you're gonna need a 7 millimeter box wrench. Get inside there to remove the nut. There's that, and that'll allow you to take the shock shaft out. There we go. I'll put that on a different paper towel. This one's starting to get a little dirty. There's also a washer, okay. All right, so now we have just the shock body. What we're gonna do, put your silicone line, if you want, you can measure this out, but this is how I did it to try to make it simple and consistent. So put the silicone line on so it hits this shoulder right here. Okay, you're gonna need 2 of these. There's one. There's 2. All right, so for those of you wondering, you're approximately 12.5 millimeters, or basically half an inch. So again, you need 2 of these. So what I'm going to do is heat this up and then slide it over the shaft here. Okay. All right, so get yourself a little washer. After you heat up the silicone, you're gonna wanna use that washer to help slide this hot silicone over. All right, so that one's gonna live right there. I'm gonna do this second one, heat it up, push it over, and then take this one off, because this is the one that's going to be inside the shock body, limiting the overall shock length. There we go. Just let that cool off for a sec so it keeps the diameter. It's much easier to do this now, not inside the shock body. All right. So after that cools off for a little bit, go ahead, put that back in. And so here's what I'm saying, you're putting it on right here. Okay. After you get your silicone on, make sure to put your washer back on. And that, and then the nut. All right, so what you can see is we've limited the travel inward and outward, but overall, this is now 5 millimeters longer than stock, giving you that extra ground clearance. So I'm going to fill this up with 50 weight oil. I'm going to do the other set off camera, and then after I get all 4 on the truck, I will show you what it looks like. And there it is, guys. There you can see on the right the additional travel that you get when you do this modification. I'm going to link the running video in the description below. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.